Episode 11, Dr. Happy. The dental office was spotless, so clean it made Brian's rotten tooth and yellowing teeth stand out even more. The receptionist sat behind the counter like some perfect statue. Her wide grin and locked eyes made it seem like he was the most important person in the world. "Good morning, sir," she said cheerfully as she slid a clipboard across the desk. "We're so thrilled to see you. Just some details about you and your insurance provider." Brian scoffed and snatched the clipboard. "Why is insurance always the first thing out of you people? God forbid you just help for helping's sake." Her eyes twinkled. "Unfortunately, it does cost money to help people, but that's why insurance is so wonderful. If you're planning on not using any insurance, you'll need to sign this document instead. Dr. Happy wants to help everyone, so he offers an affordable care option. For helping's sake, like you said." Brian hesitated to sign it, but his tooth reminded him why he was there when he clenched his jaw out of stress. "Whatever," he replied, scribbling anywhere on the paper without reading it. As soon as he slid the document back over, a door leading to the back office swung open. "Brian?" A dental hygienist stepped out, his grin somehow wider than the receptionist. "Are you ready to get your new shining smile?" Brian started towards the door, giving the receptionist one last look, but she didn't move. Just her static smile as her eyes followed him like a doll. As they walked into the exam room and Brian sat down on the chair, he couldn't shake the coincidence of an affordable care plan. It felt weird. Then again, he'd been too stubborn to visit the dentist in over a decade, not wanting to spend money on it. So, maybe things were different now. Brian observed several rows of mouth molds mounted on the wall. "All right, sir," the hygienist said. "Let's take a look." The hygienist peered into his mouth and immediately found the culprit, a tooth blackened and rotting at the gum line. The hygienist muttered, prodding it. Brian yelped and jerked away. "I thought you said you were going to help me, not make it worse." "Sorry, sir. Just checking the sensitivity. This one's pretty far gone. We'll need x-rays to see what's happening under the gum line, though." "Yeah, or you're just trying to make an extra buck," Brian snapped back. "Absolutely not, sir. Dr. Happy wants you smiling from ear to ear," the hygienist replied. "May I remind you that you already signed up for the affordable plan?" "Guess I don't have much of a choice then, huh?" "That's the spirit. Follow me." Brian trailed behind him to a dimly lit x-ray room. The hygienist busied himself with the machine, while Brian noticed something odd: the closet door in the corner. As he stared at the door, the room unnaturally deafened, and Brian could hear a faint, long, labored groan from within, like someone was in subtle and agonizing pain. "You'll just bite down on this, sir," the hygienist said, snapping Brian back to reality. Brian couldn't shake his gaze from the closet. "Hey, what's in there?" he asked. "If you could bite down on this, we need to get the x-ray, sir," the hygienist said, his smile a little less wide now. Brian clamped down on the plastic mouthpiece, but a sharp bolt of pain shot through his jaw, and he recoiled. "Are you messing with me?" "Oh, no, sir, Sir. Enough with the sir bullshit. Did you forget the whole reason I'm here is because I can't bite down?" A calm voice interjects from the doorway. "All we want is for you to have a shining smile." Brian turned to see a tall, slender shadow looming in the doorway. Dr. Happy himself. His grin was unnaturally wide, his teeth a row of glaring white daggers, bright as they can be through the dark silhouette. "Sometimes the healing hurts more than the sickness," Dr. Happy said as he approached, becoming more defined. His eyes pierced right through Brian's soul. "Just rest your mouth here. Can you do that for me?" Brian, unnerved by the doctor's tone, slowly bit down again, eyes locked with the doctor's unblinking stare. "There you go." The room darkened. The x-ray machine began to spin around Brian, clicking loudly, projecting images of his jawbone onto a flickering screen. Classical music hummed softly in the background. Click, 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 click. The machine started spinning faster and faster. So fast, Brian's environment became a blur. He was stuck, mouth locked onto the mouthpiece, like it was glued. And through the chaos, Brian saw Dr. Happy, staring, smiling. The machine moved even faster now, and it started to sound like a carousel on fire. Then snap! Everything stopped. Silence. The lights flipped back on. Brian's restraint lifted as he jumped away, panicked and sweating. See? Dr. Happy said cheerfully. Not so bad. Brian followed the hygienist back to the exam room, trembling, not saying a word. He sat down again, trying to catch his breath. The hygienist placed the x-rays on the counter and turned to leave. I heard something in that closet, Brian said. The hygienist froze at the door. Thank you for bringing this to our attention, he said without turning around, and then hurried off. Brian looked around. The dental molds on the wall caught his attention again. They weren't just generic mouth samples. Now he noticed the plaques beneath them. Gingivitis 2010, periodontal 2003, malocclusion 2025. His heart pounded. Some of the molds were missing teeth, some completely empty. Worse, the teeth that were there, they didn't match. Different sizes, different shapes, not from the same mouth. These weren't molds, they were trophies. Brian bolted upright and ripped open the door, only to be face to face with Dr. Happy, smiling wide. Ready for that sparkling smile? He boomed. Maybe we'll even fix that jaw pain. His laugh threw off Brian's train of thought, causing him to fumble his words. I need to go to the bathroom. Great idea. I'll start getting ready to make you shine once more. Brian nodded stiffly and watched Dr. Happy vanish into the exam room, whistling the same eerie classical tune. Once he was out of sight, Brian zigzagged through the halls, sneaking back to the x-ray room. He crouched near the closet door. The breathing was louder now. Hello? Hey, is someone in there? He whispered. A groan answered. From down the hall, Dr. Happy's voice shrieked.
Hygiene. Where's my excavator? I can't make people shine without my tools.
I'll be back, he whispered, fighting back tears. I promise. Brian scrambled away and closed the door. He blindly navigates the confusing hallways till he finds the bathroom door. Right as he's about to walk in the door whips open, and Dr. Happy walks out smiling and drying his hands. I'll say, you had the right idea, the doctor said, crushing the paper towel in his palm. This one's gonna take a while. Have you gone yet? I got lost, Brian muttered. Seems to happen to a lot of folks around here, Dr. Happy replied with an unblinking stare. Brian forced a smile and walked past Dr. Happy into the bathroom. See you in there, Doc? It's Dr. Happy, he corrected. Brian's nerves picked up as Dr. Happy wheeled over to him. Even through the surgical mask, he could still see that devilish smile. Dr. Happy goes over some of the paperwork on the clipboard. No insurance, Brian nods hesitantly when he notices Dr. Happy's grin behind the mask widen even more. Don't worry. Affordability doesn't mean low quality. You'll still leave here with a shining smile. Nothing makes me happier. Yeah, I think I'm gonna wait, Brian said, starting to rise. I'll get a second opinion. You don't understand. Dr. Happy motioned, and the hygienist shoved Brian back into the chair. You signed the paperwork. That means we have a responsibility. I have the responsibility. Letting you go would be a massive risk to your health. Something I, a doctor, can't let happen on my watch. Are dentists doctors? Brian asked. The classical music started again. Brian's body locked up tight, just like before. He tried to scream, but could only scream with his mouth shut. Pain meds now? The hygienist asked. Dr. Happy laughed. He's on the plan. He doesn't get pain meds. Dr. Happy shoved a mouth mold into Brian's mouth and forced his head and jaw tight. Brian let out a muffled squeal. Just getting measurements, he said cheerfully. We want the replacement to match. He yanked out the mold and shoved a mouth retractor in, examining Brian's mouth. What a dump, he sneered. Do you even brush? He tapped forceps on the bad tooth. Brian's body twitched from the pain. Forceps clamped onto the tooth, and Dr. Happy pulled. Nothing. He pulled once more, and another time. He moved around Brian, trying to pull the tooth from several angles while Brian cried. Stubborn. Apple doesn't fall far from the tree, he joked, looking at Brian. Chisel. The hygienist handed him a chisel. Then came the hammering. Dr. Happy wound up and started jabbing the chisel right into his fucking gum line. Brian screamed, but it was feckless. Pointless. The music drowned out the scream. Brian watched the doctor's crazed eyes as blood sprayed everywhere. He looked like a wolf tearing into its prey. At last, the tooth came free, while Brian screamed in agony with his muffled, desperate cry. Dr. Happy held it high, victorious. Ah, Brian, he said softly. We got it, see? Fun's over. What? Wait. What's this? He peered back inside. You really should floss. Brian groaned, begging silently. Dr. Happy didn't care. It appears my work isn't done after all, he said. Rather, just beginning. He placed the forceps on another tooth. Wiggle, wiggle, crack. The tooth ripped out of Brian's gums. The pain was so overbearing that Brian's vision blurred. And then, darkness. Brian periodically woke up to Dr. Happy still working in his mouth, pulling tooth by tooth. He distinctly remembered the wicked smile on Dr. Happy, who was having a ball by the looks of it. The pain was so unbearable that he wasn't able to stay conscious for more than a few seconds. What seemed like hours later, Brian woke up to a skipping record. A single exam light was beaming down onto him, dry blood everywhere. He barely moved, but pain rippled through him. He tried to close his mouth and screamed. It didn't feel right. Things didn't line up like they used to. His teeth felt like too many? Too sharp? Too different. Like they weren't even his teeth. Sitting in front of him to the side was a mirror with a smiley face drawn on it with blood. Brian pulled the mirror over and hesitated for a moment. He slowly opened wide, having to fight through the pain. Horrified, he saw almost half of his real teeth were gone, replaced with some mismatched ones in all conditions, jagged, yellow, not his. Mounted on the wall was a new mold. Tooth decay, 2025. The same configuration as his mouth. Even worse, the other molds were missing more teeth than before. He sobbed, but not for long because the pain from sobbing was so unbearable. From the intercom, Dr. Happy's voice echoed.
See? Affordable doesn't mean bad. Enjoy your dazzling smile.
Brian forced himself to get up through the pain and bolted out the door. He ran to the x-ray room and started for the closet door, only to slip on the ground. Brian lay in agony momentarily from the pain of the impact, only to find himself laying in a pool of blood. He crawled to the door and used it to help him up, his legs weak and shaking. When he opened the closet door, he had to catch himself again from the shock of what his eyes saw. There on the ground, a young man with a mouth retractor forced into his toothless mouth and a throat freshly slit open, still leaking blood. This way, came a whisper. Brian turned to find the hygienist urging him to follow. They ran and rounded a corner, and there stood Dr. Happy, waiting, bloody scalpel in hand. Other way, the hygienist screamed. They turned back, but Dr. Happy appeared before them, jamming the scalpel into the hygienist's gut. He collapsed, choking. I knew you were a backstabber, but I didn't know I was the front stabber. Dr. Happy let out an evil laugh as the hygienist collapsed down. Brian saw the dead hygienist's hand pointing down a hallway. He looked at the end and saw a green exit sign ahead. He barely broke away, sprinting towards the exit sign. As he ran down the hallway, he felt a thud hit his back, followed by a sharp pain, enough to cause him to fall. He reached back and pulled the scalpel out. "Thought you'd get a free procedure, huh?" Dr. Happy snarled. "There's no such thing as free, Brian. You should know, always bitching and not getting any handouts." Dr. Happy let out a laugh that bounced off the walls, getting louder as he walked towards Brian. Brian, almost an arm's length away from the door. But Dr. Happy was even closer. As Dr. Happy grabbed his foot, Brian turned and slashed the scalpel across Dr. Happy's face, carving a bloody, half-frown into that unnatural grin on one side of his face. The doctor reeled, just enough for Brian to burst through the door. Brian stumbled and rolled outside into the parking lot. A massive gust of wind surged through, almost reaching tornado speeds. Brian laid face down, as low to the ground as possible. Through the roar, he still heard Dr. Happy laughing. When the dust settled, Brian turned around, only to see nothing. The building was gone. Just a bare, dirt lot. A paper fluttered through the air and slapped against his bloody, swollen face, reading, "Medical costs for operations. Failure to pay will result in severe financial and legal consequences. Enjoy your new smile. Dr. Happy and his team." He stared in awe at the paper, in shock mostly. Blood dripped from his mouth onto the page, and all Brian could do was cry. And cry. And cry.
And that concludes another journey into the dark world of the Terror Tapes. If you enjoyed the terror, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Join our growing legion of fear seekers, and together we'll explore the darkest corners of the unknown. Until next time, stay haunted.